Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the GioMo Show, right here on 88.3 FM WXOU, Auburn Hills, Michigan, Oakland University, and all your wonderful station identification features. I am your host and sports media director of WXOU, Giovanni Mosheri, and the GioMo Show is your home for all Oakland University sports and beyond on 88.3 FM. Don't forget to follow WXOU on our MAB award-winning social media platforms, including Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. You can also join the WXOU Discord server, as well as follow us and get all your information by visiting WXOU.org. And while you're surfing the internet, why don't you go and find me as well? Why don't you go give me a follow and a visit as well? You can find me on Instagram at two locations. You can find me personally at Mosheri_Giovanni, but you can find the GioMo Show purely at the GioMo Show. If you're watching on YouTube, then you can just see it over in the corner. But if you're on Spotify, I'll give you the auditory as well. I'm also on Twitter at GioMosheri WXOU, and there's a TikTok around there somewhere, but I haven't seen it in ages. And if you're not with me right now on 88.3 FM, which I don't think anybody is because this is a pre-recorded episode, but if that is the case, then you can find me at any time on YouTube and Spotify. And for this special Thanksgiving edition of the GioMo Show, that is the reason it is being pre-recorded, we got a pretty usual lineup for you guys. No interview, sadly. It is the holiday. I got to give everybody their due time with their family. So no interview for this week, but there is still plenty to talk about with Oakland Sports, as well as the NFL, and as well as the Week 12 picks at the end of the show. You know how we go. So we're going to start off with the Oakland NCAA sports, move into the Oakland Club sports, get into the NFL with the Detroit Lions, thoughts on the Bears game, thoughts going towards the Packers game, and a little bit of a breeze through the NFL as a whole. And then we'll get into the Week 11 review of the picks. I did pretty good this week. I got, we'll save it for a little bit, but I did really well for the picks in Week 11. And then we'll get into the live picks of Week 12. So we got plenty to get into, and you guys know how we get into the show. We got to give you the upcoming WXOU broadcasts. So for this week, we only got one broadcast coming up until at least the next time with the GioMo Show. For the holiday weekend, we got women's basketball taking on Madonna at home at the Arena, 5:30, and you can find it also on WXOU. We got the call for that game. It's going to be me on color as well as Joey Hayes on play-by-play. It's going to be a great show. Hope you guys are able to tune in or show up if you're in town. So let's get started with the NCAA Division I Golden Grizzlies sports. We're going to start with esports here. So the Smash Brothers A team as well as the Overwatch 2 team recently competed in the NACE semifinals. Unfortunately, neither Golden Grizzlies squad was able to advance to the national finals. But let me tell you guys something. If you don't know a lot about esports, that's okay. Not a lot of people do. But for the NACE Premier Star League or Star League Premier League, for the NACE, that is the National Association of Collegiate Esports, you can essentially think of it as the NCAA of esports. You could think of it as the grand stage, as the kind of common place for all collegiate esports. So for Oakland to not have only one, but to have two of their varsity sports, of their varsity games, to make it to the national semifinals, I hope I'm going to hit the right button here, but let me try that again because the volume was down. But to have two of your sports, to have two of your games make it to the national semifinals. Oh, hell yeah! There we go. We got some new sounds in the soundboard for this week. But it's crazy. For a program that's only a few years old, and I guess in general, the esports is only so many years old, but Smash Brothers and Overwatch, a big congratulations to making it so far into the fall playoffs and to making it to the semifinals. Moving on now to swim and dive. The women, they swam against the Eastern Michigan Eagles this past weekend. Nothing for the men, unfortunately, in regards of dual meets, but the women, unfortunately, were not able to defeat the Eastern Michigan Eagles, although they had a pretty great performance otherwise. So Oakland was able to win 7 of the events with 6 silver medals as well as a bronze in the meet. And Jordan Ships was named the Oakland University Athlete of the Week, or Women's Athlete of the Week. We'll get into who got the men's spot in just a little bit, but a hint, it is Oakland men's basketball that got that spot. But for swim and dive, Jordan Shipp, she had a great meet, scoring or winning 3 of her solo events, and that's all of her solo events. So she won the 50-yard freestyle with a time of 23:88, the 100 butterfly with a time of 55:48, and then the 200 IM 2:06:04. First place in all of them, and got her the Athlete of the Week awards. So, a valiant effort by the Golden Grizzlies women's swim and dive team against the Eastern Michigan Eagles, and congratulations to Jordan Shipp on the weekly honor. And now let's get into it. The big fish of Oakland University athletics, it's men's basketball. So we talked about last week about their their home opener against Bowling Green that you heard here on WXOU, that you saw on the WXOU Sports YouTube channel for the pregame show. We had Kevin Beers on. We had me and Harj discussing the game before we went into the arena and called it, or at least worked it. And we mentioned that they're going to be going to the Cayman Islands. Well, as of the recording right now, they are still in the Cayman Islands, but enjoying the day because they finished up and had a great Cayman Islands Classic. Ending the weekend with a 2-1 record in 5th place in the tournament, as Oakland was coming in as the 8th seed, as the bottom seed. So the supposed bottom feeders, as Campy was talking about, the person that was there to lose at the poker table. The person everyone was going to be making their money off of. Oakland was able to finish in fifth in the tournament. So let's go through what happened. You heard a little bit about it on the GioMoShow previews that I had throughout the week to give you guys a little bit of a taste of each game. But to kind of give you the full summary of the Cayman Islands Classic, Oakland started it off on Sunday against Drake, one of the best mid-major basketball programs in the country, at least according to Greg Campy. He claims that they are a top 30 and even top 25 team in the country, and they're loaded. Drake is a very good team, and they have a very good roster. And their star player, what was his name again? I can't remember, but their star player was held to 1 of 10 from the field and 1 of 7 from 3. That kid is projected to go potentially lottery in the NBA draft. If he would decide to declare for the draft, he would go that high. And Drake has those guys, and they have other guys as well. They got a loaded roster. There's a reason why they're one of the best in the country. But Oakland was able to keep with them throughout most of the game. Oakland, like they did against Ohio State, they had the lead for most of the game. It's just the last few minutes. They couldn't hold it together. They couldn't keep it together. And as much focus as they were giving to the star player for Drake, they had 2 other guys that were really good as well to kind of pick up the slack as well as the rest of their team. So it ended with a final score of 77-85 to the Bulldogs, but it was a lot closer than the score would indicate. And then Monday, Oakland, they played Loyola Marymount, a team that is, I'm getting this from Campy in the Grizz Visions, but Marymount, top 100 team in the country, and have beaten and have competed and have done well against NCAA tournament teams, against Gonzaga, against St. Mary's, like notorious tournament teams like that. Loyola Marymount was able to go and beat them in the past. So Oakland, then facing them in the Cayman Islands Classic, won the game 74-69. Almost gave it up at the end, but Oakland was able to keep a hold of the lead, scored just enough to keep it going and to keep the lead and keep it intact for a big win for the Horizon League as a whole. Not only just Oakland men's basketball, but that's a big Horizon League win to beat a top 100 team, to punch up and to be that team is huge for the league, and it's huge for Oakland. So they then follow that up. They played their last game Tuesday against Marshall University. Oakland gets another win, 78-71 against the Herd. I forgot what they're called, like the Rolling Herd or something. They had a sweet mascot name, but Oakland was able to beat them to end as the number 5 team in the tournament and to launch Rocket Watson to the all-tournament team. We'll get into some of the individual performances in just a little bit, but overall, that is a great showing, and it's a great tournament for Oakland, and they're now 3-3 on the season. In the past, going last year, I only really go back 1 year with men's basketball, but It was a really, really rough start to the season with the out-of-conference play and with the notoriously tough schedule that Greg Campy always schedules. Last year, they started 2-11 before they really got going in the conference play. Right now, they're 3-3 against tough opponents. They only played one home game. None of the teams were cupcakes. Bowling Green, with all due respect, ended up being one. They had basically a totally new team and a new head coach as well. So other than that, you have Ohio State you played and were really close with in their house. You played Illinois tough, a literal top 25 team. You played them tough in their house. You beat Bowling Green at home. And then you go to the Cayman Islands. You make it close with Drake. And you beat Loyola Marymount. And you beat Marshall. You're 3-3 on a really tough schedule. That is awesome. I'm really hyped about it. So let's get into some of the more specifics in the tournament. So Rocket Watts, I mentioned he was named to the all-tournament team. And looking at his stats, this is a huge week. This was a huge stretch of games for Rocket Watts in particular because he had a rough start. He had a rough go of it the first 3 games and didn't make his first field goal until the 3rd game against Bowling Green. And, and we heard a little bit of Isaiah Jones talking about it in the post game after the Bowling Green game. We got that interview up on WXOU Sports' YouTube channel, but, Rocket was getting a lot of hate, and Rocket was not doing well, and he was, that's tough to kind of come out from and to break through with. But oh man, did he do it? So for Rocket Watts against Drake, he was 8 of 16. He was 8 of 16 from the field. He was 3 of 8 from 3. He made 4 of 6 free throws and had 23 points in the game. Wow, great game. And then you get to Loyola Marymount to 5 of 12. He was 1 of 3 from 3, 2 of 3 from the line for a total of 13 points. And then Marshall comes around. They face Rocket Watts, giving them 7 of 15 from the field, 1 of 6 from 3, 5 of 6 from the stripe for 20 points. Rocket had a great stretch of games. And it's not we saw when I was listening to the Drake game, I'm like, oh, Rocket's doing well. I hope it's not just a one-off. I mean, like any player that's, coming out of a rough patch, you hope it's not, they can keep it up. Rocket kept it up. So a big congratulations to him, a big well done. Let's give him a hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah! A hell yeah to Rocket. And he's not the only Golden Grizzly that did well. Trey Townsend did his thing, of course. But to highlight some of the other guys, Isaiah Jones. Big tournament for him. Not the biggest thing offensively, although Marshall would beg to differ, but he has been productive. He's been what the team needs, and Campy was even talking about him as a glue guy. We mentioned last year Keaton Hervey. He was the glue guy for Oakland, and now they plug Isaiah Jones in, and he fills that glue guy role as well. He's blocking passing lanes. He's getting rebounds. He's scoring when he has to. And against Marshall, he had 16 points. He was 7 of 10 from the field, 1 of 2 from 3. For a total of 16 points. How many rebounds? He had 10 rebounds and, a steal. He had just a great game against Marshall and did well in the rest of the tournament. And then Chris Conway showed up and showed out. Against Drake, he was 6 of 10 for 12 points. Against Marshall, he was 9 of 15 for 18 points and 5 rebounds as well. So I'm trying to paint the picture here. Oakland had a great Cayman Islands trip. They got to enjoy the weather and enjoy the basketball part of it as well. So I'm really happy about it. I'm excited for what the team is going to be doing. They now got a bit of a tougher stretch of games. I believe they face Xavier in their next game. Let me just go and make sure. That's right. Monday the 27th, they're going to be traveling to Xavier. And then Wednesday, just a couple days after, they're going to be going to Detroit Mercy to kick off the Horizon League play. And that's a big game. That's one Campy has been obviously, it's the rivalry game you're going to, but that's the one that Campy circled. That's the one he's talking about on the Campy Show. That's one that he is almost solely focused on. His kind of mentality, paraphrasing it, but no matter what happens in this out-of-conference stretch, what's important is that Detroit Mercy game and the one at the end of the season too. And the Horizon League. That's what's most important. because that's what can get them the ticket to the NCAA tournament. Although the NCAA changed some rules, so it's not even guaranteed, but that's a whole nother can of worms. But anyway, so in total, men's basketball 3-3 on the season, and it's looking like good basketball for the Golden Grizzlies. So moving on to women's basketball, but before that, I got a message for you guys. We got some new sports shows coming up on WXOU, and I just want to tell you all about it. So join DJ Deshawn Fridays at 5 p.m. for an all-inclusive talk and analysis on the game of basketball. Whether you're a fan of the NBA, the NCAA, or Oakland Athletics, Round Ball Radio has you covered. Listen to Round Ball Radio Fridays at 5 p.m. right here on WXOU. Now let's get into the women's basketball. They played against Cleary University. Now, who the heck is Cleary University, for those who aren't fully aware? Well, they are a very small school, an NAIA school, meaning not in the NCAA. It's about equivalent to the low end of D3 NCAA. But Cleary is in their inaugural season of women's basketball, and Oakland put 110 on the scoreboard and almost had Buddy's pizza coupons going around at halftime, man. It was a smoke show for the offense, but that's going to happen with the matchup. I had sidelined and I talked to Tungit after halftime and after the game. You know the competition. It's not the greatest competition. Oakland's Division I against an NAIA school. So why the hell did we play them anyway? I got the nugget for that one. Apparently the AD of Cleary University used to play women's basketball over at Oakland University. So in the first year of their program, Oakland was nice enough to give them a little bit of a spotlight, get them an ESPN Plus broadcast, and just kind of help them boost the brand a little bit, help out an old pioneer. It was Heather Bateman, who is the what is she now? She used to be the AD, and now she is the vice president of campus operations. Good, it's a good gig. So Oakland was just trying to help out the Cleary Cougars. But to give some of the stats, if it's worth anything, let's go look at the box score. We had 8 Golden Grizzlies score in double digits. Leading scorer was Madison Royal Davis. She had 17, although her teammates were not far behind. You had Alexis Johnson with 16. You had Jasmine Dupree Hebert with 15 points. I hope I'm saying that right. Someone got into my ears saying that I'm saying it wrong, but either way, 8 Golden Grizzlies in double digits. It speaks for itself, and I'm not going to we'll dwell on this for too long, but I had the ESPN sideline for that one, like I mentioned, and I feel like I did really well with the first hit and the interviews, but brother, I freaking botched the hit in the second half. What's this button do?
Stupid.
Yeah, that's what I felt like coming off of it. I had my notes; they were all scrambled up. I was trying to talk about what player was I trying to talk about? I was trying to talk about Markiah McCormick and how she came, and I had all these scrambled notes, and dude, I was word vomiting into that microphone. It felt terrible, but we shake it off and we move on. And now we move on to our last sport that we're covering here on the GioMo Show for the Oakland Sports Update. Volleyball, unfortunately, ends their season. In Dayton, Ohio, they were the 5th seed going into the Horizon League tournament, someplace they weren't even able to go to last year. So Oakland, they go in as the 5th seed, and they face the number 4 seed Northern Kentucky Norse, a team that they were able to beat in the arena by reverse sweeping them, Oakland being down 0-2, and then beating them in set 5. It was not the same case in the Horizon League tournament. Northern Kentucky gave them the sweep to give them an early exit in the Horizon League tournament. But to look at the season as a whole and to zoom out, and you heard a little bit of this on the Golden Grizzly Blitz. You can find that on Golden Grizzlies media, social media, YouTube, wherever. But we mentioned it a little bit there. But even though it was an early exit in the tournament, like I mentioned, Oakland wasn't even in the tournament last year. And with their record of 17-14 overall and 11-7 in the Horizon League, it is a much bigger improvement. It is a great improvement. I'm trying to think of adjectives here. But last year they were 11-19 and then 7-11 in the leagues. And overall, it was a successful season. You had 3 players named to the all-academic team. You had 1 to the first team, 1 to the second team, 1 to the freshman team, and you had a school record broken as well. Emily Wickman broke the school record for single-season digs with 638. Give me a hell yeah.
Oh, hell yeah!
So overall, it was a successful season and one the program can definitely build upon in years to come for Oakland volleyball. So that one is going to wrap up the Oakland NCAA sports update. And before we start going into the club sports, I got to tell you about another WXOU sports show that you guys just got to tune into. Mondays from 2 to 3, tune in to the ultimate radio show for Detroit football and basketball aficionados. It's the Blue Ski Mask Show. In this thrilling program, the Oakland Post sports editor Brock Hillig and sports reporter Kurt Szymanski will take you on an exhilarating ride through the world of Detroit Lions and Detroit Pistons. Get ready for in-depth analysis, player spotlights, game reviews, and expert insights, all centered around the NFL and the NBA action in the Motor City. Join us to stay connected with the heartbeat of the city's sports scene and never miss a beat of the action. It's the Blue Ski Mask Show, Mondays, 2 o'clock on WXOU. Welcome back, everybody, to the GioMo Show, 88.3 FM WXOU. I'm Giovanni Moscheri, your host of the GioMo Show. And now let's get into the Oakland club sports, shall we? Start off with D1 Club Hockey, a team that I had here on the GioMo Show. You guys can scroll down on YouTube and find that interview with a couple of the star players for the D1 team. Talk to them about their careers and kind of their spot on the team. So be sure to go and check that out as well. But to give you an update, there's not much going on that we didn't cover already. Currently as in like this minute right now, as of this recording, Tuesday at 7 o'clock, they are currently facing Adrian College. Is that at home or away? They're playing at Adrian College right now against the Bulldogs, and we'll give you the update for that next week. But you can also go to their Twitter page at Oakland Hockey. They give updates, live ones throughout the game, and you guys can keep track of what's going on. And they also got a broadcast going. You can find them on YouTube to watch it live. Or at the time of you watching this, you can watch it back. But either way, be sure to follow at Oakland Hockey and go to their website at oaklandhockey.org for all your information on your D1 club hockey team. Now getting into D3 club hockey, Oakland D3 club hockey, they moved up in the national rankings. Previously, the 7th ranked team, they have now boosted themselves all the way up to 6. Give me a hell yeah.
Oh, hell yeah!
That was as of November 17th. So these two games that I'm about to talk about were not into consideration for those rankings. However, I believe they are worthy of mention. They played Michigan State. They played at Buffalo Wild Wings Arena as well as in East Lansing or wherever the state team plays. They are currently the number 7 team right now. At the time, they were the 5th. So Oakland, they lost the first game 6-1 against the Spartans and then tied them 2-2 in the following game. And some of their upcoming games, they're going to be facing the LTU Blue Devils. LTU is currently 8th in the country right now, so it's going to be a matchup between the 6th and the 8th. That's going to be going on this weekend, or rather next weekend, Friday, December 1st. That one's going to be in Farmington Hills Ice Arena, and then December 2nd will be at Buffalo Wild Wings Arena for a pair of games against the Blue Devils. Be sure to follow the team and their progress and their information. They got a website linked in their social media, and that social media is Instagram at OU_D3_hockey. And to wrap up the club sports segment, we got to talk about the women's club soccer team, a team that I also had on the GioMo Show. I had all the club teams that I mentioned here on the GioMo Show previously. We had D1 club hockey. We had D3 club hockey. We had women's club soccer on the GioMo Show, as well as Who else did we had? I know we had the men's club volleyball team. We had women's club rugby. We had women's club lacrosse. We had plenty of club teams on the JoMo Show. So be sure to scroll down that JoMo Show interviews playlist to find all your stories and all the big scoop on Oakland club sports. But going back to the club soccer team, they were in Round Rock, Texas for the NERSA National Soccer Championship. One of 24 teams invited to such honors, and the first time the program in 21 years has been invited to such an event. So it was a big moment, big historical moment for the club sports team. And Oakland had a tough go of it, ending with no wins in their group. They were grouped with Colorado Black, with Vermont, and San Diego State. Leaving with no wins, unfortunately, but to be invited to such a big event is only the tip of the iceberg for this program and for this club to continue moving forward. So congratulations and a good luck to next season for the women's club soccer team. And we're going to get into a break here before we get into that football therapy. I got to tell you about the Eli Andrews Show. Thursdays at 10 p.m. on WXOU, the lights turn low and the FCC turns their back as 10 p.m. is where the guidelines die down a little bit. So listen to Eli Sepulveda and Andrew Deacon as they ask their guests the wackiest and the most hilarious questions written by each other to ask the guests. That means neither host knows what they're about to ask until they open up the notes and read it themselves. Join in on the hilarity Thursdays at 10 p.m. on WXOU. Welcome back, everybody, to the JoMo Show. It's time for football therapy. It's time for you to sit down on the couch, and it's time for the doctor to give you the football therapy you need and the therapy I need as well. We got to talk about the Detroit Lions as they played a tough game, a little bit of a self-imposed tough game against the Chicago Bears this past Sunday at Ford Field. Detroit was still able to get out with a win, although it was not pretty. Although it was at the hands of 4 turnovers. Let me see if I press the right button here.
You stupid.
Yeah. 4 turnovers is tough, man. I was very shocked, and I thought we were just going to drop the game, which you would imagine with 4 turnovers, typically the case is you don't win the football game. Dominated in time of possession. Chicago had it for like 40 minutes in the game, and there's only like 60 in a football game, so I almost said Oakland. Detroit was really up against it, but they made those 20 minutes really count for themselves. They were able to come back. They were down double digits with 3 minutes left to go, and we still ended up winning. Touchdown to JMO, touchdown for Montgomery, able to make it back. So what do we take away from this game? A game that we were begging to lose, a game that we were almost purposely giving away, a game against a bad team in the Chicago Bears in the division at home, and you're just thinking, yeah! No, what you're actually thinking is,
Oh my God, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the?
Yeah, and a little bit of this.
What the hell's going on out here?
I was astonished at how the game was going. So what do we take away from it? Well, I'm going to go back to what I was talking about last week when it was the Chargers and the defense wasn't any good. And it was a shootout, and Detroit was still able to come out with the win on the road, but there was concerns about the defense, and they've been having a rough month. And does that worry you? Does the defense worry you? And that's been the question all across the city and all across the area, is that the defense is concerning and it's going to cost you in the playoffs. Well, I'm gonna go back to what I said last week, in that it's a problem. Yeah, it's not the best defense, but they show up in the right moments to end up winning the game. Against the Chargers, it ended up being just enough to get Detroit to lead the whole game, and it was just barely enough. It was just barely enough to get the win, and then kind of same deal against the Bears. Different circumstances. They were on the field for 40 minutes, but I go back to saying that we're able to win in multiple ways, and we've had to win in multiple ways this season, and that I believe that experience and that exposure to different conditions, to different game conditions, is going to be, let's say, as helpful as a defense would be detrimental in the playoffs, if that makes any sense. What I'm saying is that having that experience, let's go through it. What kind of games have the Lions played? And I kind of touched on this last week. So the Lions can win games in many ways. Could you go on the road against the defending champs on ring night? Yeah, we could win that way, like we did against the Chiefs. Can you dominate the whole game and kick the crap out of them? Yeah, we could do that. Just look at Green Bay and Carolina. What about games where the offense isn't really clicking and the defense has to do the lifting? Well, we did that against Vegas, against Tampa, and against Atlanta. Well, what about when the offense is clicking and the defense stinks? Well, we were able to do that just like with the Chargers game. Well, what about when you have four turnovers and are begging to lose and shoot yourself in the foot? Well, we've won a game like that too against Chicago just this past week. So there's not a particular form that a Detroit win has to come in. It doesn't have to be packaged in a certain way for it to work. It's not like we always have to be front running and we always have to have the running game in place. We always have to have David Montgomery. We always, it's not like that. Detroit can win any way possible. And even in the games that they lost, they're in very different spots and they're in different ways that they can learn from as well. Against Seattle, it was a game where the defense was no good and they, poor defensive game plan, and it ended up losing in overtime. Okay, well, you have experience a little bit in overtime. You have experience with tight games like that, and it's not like, oh, yay, we lost in overtime. Not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that the players and the coaches now have a literal and an actual experience in that situation, so if it happens again, it's not going to surprise them. It's like studying for a test. If you've seen the problem before, most likely you're going to be a lot more comfortable and able to solve the problem when you see it again on the exam and on the test. To put it more into a student perspective. And, it's not a good thing, but you've seen it before. You get the doors blown off you by Baltimore. Well, now you know a little, some of the things that might cause such a disaster like that. So it hasn't been the same story every week. It's been different ways, and some of those situations you're going to have to face in the playoffs. It may be a shootout. It may be a defensive game. It may be one side of the ball is not doing well and the other has to do well in spite of it. We can do it. That's why I'm not so scared after the Chicago game. Like, yeah, it's not good that we have 4 turnovers, but we can win against the Bears, yeah, but we can win after turning the ball over 4 times and with only 20 minutes of possession. Yeah, we could do that. We've done it. So I'm not as worried, but the defense does kind of have to get better. Let's get better on defense. Please, can we do that? Luckily, we got a great opponent to help us do that, and it's the Green Bay Packers. Enough with the soundboard. But it's the Green Bay Packers.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Yeah, I'll use the soundboard for that one. But we got Thanksgiving against the Packers, baby, at home, in front of everybody, on one of the biggest Detroit traditions that we got. And it's literally like a gladiator, and you got the little pipsqueak against the lion. It's just gonna be a bloodbath, the way I see it, at least. It's like Green Bay's going in as fodder. That's the way I see it. That's my feelings going into the game. And I'm kind of hesitating and kind of saying it like that because of how the Chicago game went. It wasn't a good game, and it can happen again. But Green Bay ain't good either. Green Bay does not have a budding star at quarterback with a dope receiver and a underrated defense. They don't have those things. They have they barely got pieces put together. And either they're constantly injured or Jordan Love just stinks or when I said last week that I'm not scared of the Bears, I am really not scared of the Packers. That's for sure. So for Thanksgiving, it's gonna be good. The turkey's gonna taste a lot better this year than in years past, and it's going to be one that you're going to want to watch and to be happy to watch, to be happy to talk about at the table. Let's hope, and knock on wood, this table is wood. Let's hope that we don't get another 4-turnover game at home against a division opponent. Let's hope it don't happen. All right, let's take a look around the rest of the NFL. What's been going on? What happened this week? And how did I get so many games picked correctly? We'll talk about that in a little bit. But let's going through the scoreboard. Bengals and Ravens. It was an anticipated Thursday night game like it should have been, but dude, Mark Andrews and Joe Burrow out for the season. That is a total bummer, man. That's bad for the league. Bad or unfortunate for the league. And that is just a darn shame. Because both those teams are fun. And now the Ravens, I feel like, are in better shape. It's a tight end that goes down and it's not their star quarterback. Bengals are pretty screwed, dude. I mean, just after they dig themselves out and they're above 500, and to go down, to have your quarterback go down just sucks, dude. Steelers and Browns was gross. And thank God that they finally fired Matt Canada as offensive coordinator, because he wasn't coordinating any offense. He was just there, dude. He was just up in the skybox watching the game and doing God knows what, because there was no offense being coordinated there. So we'll put it that way. Steelers are in pretty good shape. Otherwise, I mean, six and they lost the game. They lost the game, and they're 6-4, but they're still 6-4 after they look awful. But the Browns, on the other hand, I really hope that the Browns could go far in the playoffs. I love their story. I love that defense and that Jim Schwartz. It's a little bit of that, he was like, let's say my childhood Lions coach. It wasn't, obviously it wasn't the best days, but I remember Jim Schwartz kind of fondly, and, we had some decent teams. We went to the playoffs a couple times, and, childhood memory stuff. And to see him with that, like, deadly defense that he's got with a nuclear weapon in Myles Garrett, and even, I think, they got Zadarius Smith on the other end of that? Like, they're a really cool team. Quarterback situation's weird with Deshaun Watson. Sucks that they lost Nick Chubb, but they're still 7-3 without a quarterback, or without a healthy quarterback, and without their star running back, like best running back in the league level. I love that defense. They're fun to watch. Not much against the Steelers, but like they freaking kill you, man. I love that. Chargers and Packers. Oh, dude. What the hell's going on out here? What are the Chargers doing? What is happening over there? It's insane, and you got the coach yelling at reporters about the fact that they stink and they're wasting good teams. It's awful over there. And what's really awful is that you lost to the Packers. Those guys are terrible. And you lost to them, and you drop passes, and oh my God, they make me sick. Let's move on. Raiders and Dolphins. Dolphins, they're probably going to win. I love the Raiders now without Josh McDaniels. I love the vibe, and I love the cigar smoking. I love Crosby. I love the Condor. I love that nickname in general. They're a weird team, but I dig it. I dig the coach. I hope Antonio Pierce continues to be the coach, and if they don't, then the Raiders really are just doomed and on purpose to be terrible. So, moving on, and another surprising, this one was completely out of left field. This one was completely out of thin air. The Giants beating the Commanders. Neither of the team is that good, but the Giants, they are literally one of the worst in the league. And I talked about the Chargers. They're doing terrible. That's because of the talent they have. The Giants got nothing other than Saquon Barkley, dude. They got nothing. All they got is a quarterback that got benched. I think benched or injured. I can't remember. But you got Daniel Jones, who stinks. And then you got a You got a Dago who lives with his mom, which honestly is kind of cool. The Tommy DeVito thing, I kind of dig it, but that team's terrible. And you lost by double digits? Unbelievable. Everybody in the Pick'ems league that I'm in, everybody picked Washington. So with everyone being wrong, it was a neutral point. So anyway, that was super surprising. And it's probable, and I'm hearing that Commanders are probably just going to clean house after this season with the new ownership. Like, it's just clean house, get everything from the previous regime out of there. It is kind of the vibe I'm getting from them. Now, Cowboys and Panthers, it's what we expected. Moving on. Titans and Jaguars, also kind of what we expected. Moving on. Cardinals and Texans. Stroud looks good, man. I don't care about the interceptions. I love, I like his attitude, and I love that the Texans are pretty darn good, even with a rookie quarterback, even with having 2 of the top 3 picks last year in the draft. They're fun. I like them. I dig them. So, yeah, Texans beat the Cardinals. 49ers, they beat the Bucks. 49ers are kind of back on track. Lions got a game on them, though. Just saying. And I love that, too. Jets are disgusting, and the Jets are just an unfortunate, I don't want to say poverty franchise, but snake bitten. That's the word I'm looking for. Snake bitten franchise. And yeah, Rodgers is injured, but can you play football, please? Can you try and do something? They finally gave Zach Wilson the bench, and I forgot who they said they're gonna start, but they're gonna start Tim Boyle, dude. What the hell?
What the hell's going on out here?
Tim Boyle, have you seen his tape with the Lions? Are you serious? That's the best you got. Dude. Can you try at least? Can you run the ball a little bit? Can you make it the quarterback participation as low as possible? Could you please do something to keep the team afloat and not bet on Aaron Rodgers coming back and then tearing the other Achilles or something like that? You can't just expect him to turn it around. They're 4-6. Dude, the AFC is they got a lot of teams around that mark, man. You can't just rely on that. Please try and play football. Moving on to the Seahawks-Rams games, one of the few games I picked incorrectly. And, with the Giants and the Commanders being the other one, and the Chargers and Packers being the other games I picked wrong. But that one came down to the final play, and the Rams, I guess they just sweep the Seahawks this season. How about it? Rams are kind of in deep trouble. Seahawks are in some deep-ish as well. But, tight nail-biter game, and fine with me. It's, another playoff contending NFC team getting lower in the standings. Fine with me. And I understand it's not it's San Francisco's division, so, it's not like last year where we were battling them for the wild card, but either way, a team that beat us in overtime and has always beaten us and just been a pain in the ass. I'm fine with them losing to the Rams. And then the primetime games of the weekend, or other than Thursday, Sunday Night Football was awesome. That is a game, because the story of that game was which feel-good story, which comeback story is going to die. Which one is going to fall down? Where's the momentum going to stop, and who? And it looks like the momentum is going to stop for the Vikings, as the Broncos were able to beat them with some surprisingly exciting plays. Broncos were able to get the touchdown late to win the game. I heard the radio call for it, and that was really exciting, and I picked the Broncos too, so let's go. So that game was really exciting, and both the teams, I dig both the teams. I'm fine with the Vikings kind of getting a little dose of reality and kind of, stiff-arming them in the division standings, but, both the teams, they're cool teams. Josh Dobbs is a great story, and you got the Broncos finally, showing some life, and, you get your receivers active a little bit. It's fun to watch, too. It's kind of like watching your old high school team. They're just like, oh, that's good. They're not doing great, but, they're doing better. And now finally the Monday night game. The Super Bowl rematch, the one that was just perfectly scheduled. Coming off of 2 bye weeks at Arrowhead. Right? It was at Arrowhead? Yes. So Eagles end up winning that one. And it was just as it was a game as exciting, much like the Super Bowl that they played. And you had some big plays, and you had some brotherly shoves, and and you had the Eagles or the Chiefs defense able to sack Hurts 5 times in the first half, I believe, something like that. And it's just like the Chiefs being a defensive team is kind of lame compared to what they used to be, but if you kind of take the uniforms off it was an exciting game. Sucks that the Eagles got the win and they're up in the seating, but like I liked the Eagles to win in that game just because I felt like the revenge factor is stronger for the loser of a Super Bowl. When both teams are good. If you lost to somebody, the loser is going to want to win more than the person who won it. Because it's like, oh, let's just do it again. They're not hungry, they're just eating again. But either way, that was an exciting game, and I got that one picked correctly. So I got a message for you guys before we get into the NFL picks. Fridays at 8 p.m. on WXOU, listen to Friday Night Groove. Hosted by DJ RBJ since 2011, Friday Night Groove is your home of some of the best soul, some of the best jazz, electronic, indie, and alternative music here at the station. DJ RBJ also has interviews with artists and has one of the best radio voices in the game. You can go to his website, FridayNightGroove.com, and follow him at Trill Gunderson. That's Tril Gunderson on Instagram for the latest on the show. Friday Night Grooves, Fridays at 8 p.m. on WXOU. We'll be right back with the NFL picks. Welcome back, everybody, to the final segment of the JoeMo Show right before Thanksgiving. And we got the JoeMo Show picks to go through. We got 16 games that we got to go through, and we're climbing up in the standings. Last week, I was 29th in the league of about 50. But this week, I'm all the way up to 22nd. Give me a hell yeah.
Oh, hell yeah!
We're getting back into it. I won the week. I got 11 out of 14 correct last week. I kind of detailed in the previous segment which ones I got wrong, but Chargers and Green Bay, I picked the Chargers. They lost. The Giants and Commanders, I picked the Commanders, obviously. So did literally everybody else in the league. And I picked the Seahawks, and the Rams ended up beating them. So only got 3 close games or closer wild games wrong. And I'm feeling great about these picks. I hope you guys are feeling great about them too. So currently, like I mentioned, I'm 22nd in the league. And let's get rolling on these picks. So for the Thanksgiving games, we got Green Bay visiting the Detroit Lions. They're going to get buzzsawed. And I got the Lions in that game. Washington visits Dallas, also buzzsaw, also Dallas. Then we get another division game. It's all division games on Thanksgiving. How about that? 49ers, they go to visit Seattle. And Seattle's coming off a tough loss in division to the Rams. I like the 49ers in this one to keep the ball rolling. They got a Black Friday game this year between another division game, the Dolphins and the Jets. Jets are terrible. I have no reason to pick them. That offense is putrid, and I could score more when I played in middle school. So give me the Dolphins in that one. Panthers and Titans, 2 garbage teams. However, it's at home for the Titans. Give me the home team, whatever. Jacksonville and the Texans at the Texans. That one's tough. You got 2 of the top teams in the division, and you got 2 white hot. You got 2 teams doing well and teams that are very competitive. And this one's really for the top of the division. Just about. Jaguars are 7-3. Texans are 6-4. If the Texans win, that equalizes the records, and I believe they would have the tiebreaker. I can't remember what the game they played last, but I kind of like. But does Stroud keep throwing interceptions fearlessly? Does that keep happening? I'll go with the Jaguars in this one. I love Stroud, but I got a feeling that He might throw one pick, and that might be too many. Moving on, Patriots and Giants. Dude, can we just flip a coin for that one? Why did we have to play and watch that one? I'm not saying I have to watch it. I'm not going to watch it, but that game is just garbage. But I got to pick it. So you got it's a game for the draft. You got Tommy DeVito coming off a big win. It's a Patriots visiting. Patriots coming off a bye. I got Patriots in this one, coming off a bye with Belichick. Moving on now to the NFC South. Saints are visiting the Falcons. Again, that division is terrible too. Their top team is 5-5. Come on, man. I had such big hopes for the Saints. And even the Falcons, they are purposely doing terrible for no reason at all. I don't understand it. But I'll take the home team in this one. That division sucks. Screw them. Then we got Steelers and Bengals. Steelers are going to be without Matt Canada, visiting the Burrow-less Bengals. I'm sorry. I got to give this one to the Steelers. That offense has to get better somehow, right? Somehow. Especially against a now injured Bengals team. And then the Buccaneers, they go and visit the Colts. Colts just released Shaq Leonard, I believe. So that weakens their defense a little bit. They're going to, it's going to be Gardner Minshew, the rest of the season. What did the Bucs do last week? The Bucs, they got the doors blown off them by the 49ers. It's another game of mediocre. That's why picking is hard, and that's why I'm awesome at it, and that's why I do so well, because I know so much. Whatever, give me the home team. Browns visit the Broncos. Broncos are doing great, but that offense, I don't think is going to be good enough to do much of anything against the Browns. Give me Jim Schwartz's team. Rams at Cardinals. Rams kind of squeaked one out against the Seahawks. Kyler's playing now his third game back. I believe third game back. I like the Cardinals in this one. Then we got Bills at Philadelphia. Bills are not that good. Bills are not that good. Eagles. I cannot pick the Eagles at home. Give me the Eagles. They're going 10-1. Whatever. If they get the 1 seed again, whatever, man. Chiefs and Raiders. I don't know. Do I pick the Raiders? Crosby's going to be all over Mahomes as usual. The Chiefs are dropping stuff now. I got the Chiefs. That Raiders offense, I don't think can do enough for it. Ravens go and visit the Chargers. Ravens. And the Monday night game is going to be the Bears at the Vikings. I like what the Bears are doing. I gained a lot of respect for them after that game against Detroit. It was all self-inflicted stuff for the Lions, but Chicago, they made some plays too. They scored 26, and I like the way their offense is going. Justin Fields is playing a little bit more free into his liking. I got respect for the Bears now. Give me the Bears. Total score, 35. I don't think it's going to be much. Set and save, and the JoMo Show picks are in. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. That's going to close out the JoMo Show for this week. And to tell you what I'm thankful for, it is Thanksgiving. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say what I'm thankful for, or at least some of the things that I'm thankful for. I can't get to all of it. I'm such a thankful person. I'm thankful for my humbleness. I'm so thankful that I just can't get to all the stuff that I want to say that I'm thankful for. But to keep it kind of WXOU-centric, I am, of course, very thankful for what the station has done for me, for the opportunity that I've gotten with the station to be on staff and to have the resources to be able to continue what I love to do in this sports broadcasting thing. It's led me to opportunities with athletics. It's led me to, opportunities outside of it, potential career paths, and it's done so much for me, and I've loved every second of it, and I've loved working at it and learning everything. I don't care how many things I screw up or how many times I stub my toe. I learn from it every time, and it's something I love doing, and I'm thankful for WXOU for helping me find something that I love doing. So thank you to everybody on the staff. Thank you to everybody at Oakland Athletics for helping me build a career from scratch, really. So I'm very thankful for that, and I'm very thankful for everybody who's been following along with the JoMo Show. We're up there in subscribers now. We're getting close to 50, and it's awesome. It's an awesome feeling to have let's say a big classroom of those who like the JoMo Show and have subscribed, and just the way that I've grown the show and I've learned from it and learned better ways to do the show, and it's all been fun, man, and I've been grateful for all of it, and there's no substitute for reps, and I'm thankful for every rep. So thank you, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you next week on the JoMo Show.